All right, 9:30 on New Year's Eve. And I'm recording this out of my car because I had a little bit of a setback today and feel a little bit mentally just sick to my stomach. I hate to mention what the setback is because it's an ongoing situation and I just want to take a break and thought it would be a good time to talk about some New Year's resolutions. I'm recording this at 9:30 New Year's Eve of 2021 AD. So I'm making some resolutions for 2022. And I'll start by talking about some New Year's resolutions that I hope to keep on improving that I've made in previous years. In 2020, my New Year's resolution was to get over eating disorders and normalize my relationship with food. Unfortunately, today I lost my appetite, and without even trying, I'm already 28 hours into fasting. I hate to mention what kind of setback I had today. Um, oh well, I'll probably talk about it some other time. But long story short, it's something enough to cause a loss of appetite. So I hope to continue to normalize or continue to keep a normal relationship with food. In 2021, my New Year's resolution was to get over my fear of loud environments and to be more to be more social because everybody was doing that in 2021. So I needed to do that. I've been putting off doing that for well, in 2020 I got a break from doing that, but in 2019 I put off doing that. So I finally did it in 2021, and I started bowling, and I started going out to restaurants more, and which was good because halfway through the year we started to have trouble going to restaurants without showing proof that you've taken this drug that I didn't want to take. And I made important connections, and so I didn't run into trouble with that. So that's good. Those are two resolutions that I definitely need to keep in the back of my mind for probably the rest of my life, but especially as we come out of the pandemic, where these two things are gonna be bottlenecks for various things. Now in 2022, and today was good practice for it, I need to get over my fear of unexpected events. I have a hard time, especially at work. I prepare for so and so to happen. I prepare for such and such meeting to happen. I prepare for a social interaction to happen this way, and something I get a curveball of some sort, right? And all my plans go out the window, right? I uh, my what I maybe one thing was screwed up, but other things go out the window. It's kind of like the I've been following. I know I brought up this story a few times, but the teenage girl who was shot in L.A. By the SWAT team. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of discussion on both sides of the debate, right? Some people think SWAT needs to be better trained, and in a way, they probably do, right? And so for me, my problem was that I would see unexpected situations, right? I could only play to a script, right? A lot of times when I had those out of control food cravings, it wasn't necessarily food that I was craving. It was that my eating pattern got disrupted with an unexpected event and threw all my plans out the window, and I acted up in some weird way, right? Another resolution I hope to make is to be better at setting boundaries. I had a problem with a landlord of mine when I first moved into the home in Mercer Island where I was shooting my videos recently. I That's why I don't want to go home right now because I want to wait till everybody's asleep so I don't run into barriers like that again. My landlord felt like he wanted to run my life for me. I'd be in the middle of cooking dinner. He would make commentary about my food choices and just lots and lots of commentary. Sometimes it's not even just commentary about food. I come home at 7 o'clock. I want to relax and it won't stop talking, just jabbering away at all sorts of things when I just want to relax and have some peace, right? Which was good because I ended up going out to I discovered a new restaurant that I really loved during that time because my landlord just wouldn't shut up and I needed to relax. And so I discovered a new restaurant that I had not discovered. But at the same time, it made me realize that the rental that I was living at, it didn't really include kitchen privileges. Not if you wanted your peace, right? And I really need to practice speaking up for myself. I was just talking to my family today about how to speak up for stuff like that. I run into stuff like that at the workplace as well, right? Sometimes my coworkers want all sorts of favors. They want me to work this odd hour, and sometimes I wish when I was doing those odd hours that it would reciprocate in the future, right? Because yes, I might be free this odd hour, but in the future there might be an odd hour that I want off, right? And so I hope to speak up for that in the future. 2022, I hope I'm going to have a ceremony, and the problem is I haven't decided. There are two ways this ceremony could play out, and I haven't decided which one yet. And that I hope to make that decision and to have the ceremony in 2022. And what else? I obviously we hopefully will go back to the Computer Olympiad in person. I didn't make my goal. When I started writing computer games 10 years ago, my goal was to win a gold medal at every event before I was old enough to run for the president of the United States. But next summer, when I go to the Computer Olympiad, I'll be old enough to run for the president of the United States. So unfortunately, didn't make that goal. But I hope to do. I recently programmed the game of Hey, That's My Fish. It's a puzzle game where you got 3 or 4 players trying to grab fish on a hexagonal board. What else did I program recently? I programmed a new AI for the game of dots and boxes with endgame table bases. Yeah, so Dark Queen says I should fast for all of 2022. Well, so far so good, right? Well, actually, it's still 2021 here in Seattle. I just got excited about 2022 because I was following it with a friend of mine in New York. And so as far as New York is concerned, I've been fasting for all of 2022 now, right? And the last part of 2021 because I lost my appetite. I had a situation today. I hate to discuss it right now because it's ongoing and it probably won't turn out as bad as I think it will, but we'll have to see. I'll probably talk about it in the near future. I do wish I could fast for all of 2022. I was talking to a family member of mine on the phone, and my family member said how normal I had been talking to her because I have autism and sometimes I don't behave very well, especially over the phone. And I told my family member, "Do you realize? It's been I've been fasting for 23. I think it was 23 when I talked to 23 hours." And I asked my family member, "Would you like me to eat a meal and see if I would still feel that way?" And she was like, "No, I like talking to you like that. Don't even bother with it." But my family member thought it was a placebo effect, though. We'll have to see. In 2022, maybe I'll answer that question. How I can eat without disrupting my autism treatment, right? Because fasting is the number one treatment for autism I've ever tried. I've tried pharmaceuticals, I've tried natural medicine, I've tried exercise regimens, I've tried all sorts of stuff, behavioral therapies, you name it, I've tried it. Fasting dwarfs all of that in terms of efficacy. The problem is that I can't do it 24/7. That's the problem. So yes, that's one of my resolutions in 2022 is to figure out how to fast without the pitfall of having to take time off for my medicine every 2 days or once a day or whatever, right? So Dark Queen asks, when is the last time you have been to a buffet? Good question. When I was living in Phoenix, I had this weird regimen where I would fast for 46 hours and then I would go to the sushi buffet and load up and then restart that cycle. And at first I thought, okay, I'll do this until the sushi buffet kicks me out. But to my surprise, they really loved me because I was a regular. And it became almost like a semi-celebrity. And some people came there to kind of watch me. And so it was kind of a win-win situation at that point. I did a lot of 40-some hour fasts in Phoenix because the weather kind of permitted that. Right here in Seattle, when it's snowing, when it's cold, you don't want to be fasting 40-some hours, right? So in 2022, oh yeah, another resolution I hope to make in 2022 is to move somewhere where I belong. Right here in Seattle, people are very judgmental if you have differences in religion, your sexual orientation, or even your dietary orientation, as I like to call it, right? See, a lot of people say their food choices. I prefer dietary orientation because everybody has different needs and wants, tastes, and maybe even medical issues or even religious issues that make them eat the way they do, right? And it's not just a taste or a preference anymore. It's more of a dietary orientation, right? So Dark Queen asks, "Have you ever lived in Nevada?" No, but I thought about it, especially Las Vegas because the warmer weather there. And when I was in Phoenix, it allowed me to fast, but uh, I couldn't find anything this year because obviously a lot of people are rebounding from months of not being able to go to Las Vegas, right? It's a little bit closer to here than Phoenix, and the flights are a lot less expensive too. So I thought about it at one point. But yeah, 2022, one of my resolutions is going to be find somewhere where people accept me for my dietary and sexual orientations, right? Those two are always tricky for me, right? Okay. Anybody else want to make a resolution? Oh yeah. So next next month we have Valentine's Day, and that's a very important day for me because I love to discuss of differences in. I am a solo sexual, by the way. I'm happily in love with myself, and I didn't really realize this until very recently, though, right? So the when I was working on my PhD in 2010, I had gotten stood up by a girl, and I decided to go out alone, and I had a good time. And that's when I discovered that you didn't need a girl to go out and have a good time. But I really didn't feel romance with myself until very recently, actually. The first time I ever felt a romantic relationship with myself was 5 years ago when I had another girlfriend who I argued with. She and I had been dating for 3 months when one day I got so hung up writing a computer game that I was really late getting to her home. And she was upset and thought I was cheating on her. And so I stormed out of her home. But instead of driving home, I decided to go sightsee a little bit, and I got lost. And I ended up in Ellensburg, Washington, where the skies were very dark. And I was viewing Jupiter, Saturn, and the Milky Way. And that's when I realized that, oh my God, I feel a great sense of romance. Now, when I was living in Phoenix back in September of 2021, I was on. I was. I had a. I was living in Laveen, a suburb of Phoenix, but I would regularly drive into Phoenix, Chandler, actually, because I had known a few people there from a previous apartment that I lived there. I had a gym membership there. I had a botanical garden that I like to go there. What else did I do there? There was a board game club, so I would routinely drive from Laveen to Phoenix, which is not a very fun drive. It's kind of well, it's not dangerous or anything, but it's long. And during the trips there, all of a sudden, I almost felt like I was in love with myself. I was listening. I had a favorite radio station, and when a song about romance would come up, I remember thinking it was like my relationship with myself, and that's when I really felt that. Fortunately slash unfortunately, I also made a close female friend in Phoenix, and that's what ties into over the next year. I hope to decide which ceremony I plan to have and have it in 2022, right? So yeah, that's my main resolution as far as dating, right? Or maybe this is a long shot, but meet somebody and be happily solo sexual with them, right? Uh, it's kind of hard to explain over the video. I think I've been in double solo sexual relationships like that. You'll know it when you're in one. I mean, it's hard for me to explain over the camera what that feels like. So, Dark Queen, any other questions you have for me? Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in a miserable mood because of something that unresolved that happened today. I don't want to discuss it over the camera, but at some point when it winds down, I'll probably talk more about it. So, Dark Queen, you have any resolutions for the year? Oh yeah, another resolution. I'm probably not going to fast for the whole year of 2022, but I hope to go on a much more extreme fast than the ones that I've been doing. So back in September of 2021, I fasted 61 hours. It was on September 11th through the 14th. I fasted 61 hours in memory of well, it was 2,996 minutes that I fasted for, 1 minute for each of the victims that we had lost 20 years earlier. But I felt so good at the end of the fast that I decided to extend the fast a little bit more, and I ended up doing 61 hours. And the reason I loved it, aside from the happy-go-lucky feeling, and aside from the fact that it pretty much puts my autism in remission, the other reason I love to fast is that when I can't eat, or more accurately, when I don't allow myself to eat, I find other ways to satisfy cravings. And so I end up finding new hobbies, new romances, whether they be solo sexual or heterosexual, right? And new, I end up finding being more creative, both with my personal life and my work. I end up, I end up finding learning new things, being open to new things. And the other day I was studying Egyptian history, which I would never do if I had a full stomach, right? I just needed to take my mind off of food. And I it frees it almost opens up that door, right? You fast and oh, new hobbies, new learning, new relationships. My work performance is up, and then you start eating again. It's like bam, that door just closes in on you, right? And then you get 16 hours, bam! Oh, new hobbies, new maybe a new solo sexual date, or even meeting a new girl who accepts me for being solo sexual, and then you eat, bam, right? I sang a song about this of Google. I sang an anthem about fasting. You got to watch that if you're curious. So Dark Queen says he has a resolution to make more money. Well, money's a tool, right? Money enables you to have these solo sexual relationships, to have hobbies, to connect with people, right? And connecting with people allows you it opens doors up, right? So here in 2021, it's very difficult to go out in public without that. And I hate to say what it is because probably have more mandates in the coming years. And I haven't had trouble with that because I have enough connections. And how did I make those connections? Because I fasted, and it forced me to, oh, oh. And then I would go to my favorite restaurant, have a meal, bam. And then 16 hours. New friends to make, new hobbies. My work performance is up. And then I eat, bam, right? And so I'm very sincere with how I feel about that. I'm very sincere about that. Why did you do that video of you choking yourself out? The reason I did that was because I felt very choked to death by how my peers in Seattle treated me for having differences in life, especially being single and for my dietary orientation, and more accurately, my non-dietary orientation every 40 some hours, right? And I felt like it was a no-win situation. If I ate like everybody else, my autism would act up. But if I didn't eat, people would judge me, and so it felt like, right. Oh, I need to make a video about my when I fast and I'm indulging in all those new things. Right, I need to make a video to exaggerate that a little bit. Right, that's how I feel. Dark Queen, watch my video. It's called the Intermittent Fasting Anthem. I don't know if I can play it over the air. I'm gonna look it up, and I don't know if the sound will come through. But I'm very proud of that anthem that I wrote. Let's see. Where did I put it? The Intermittent Fasting Anthem. Oh, say, can you feel the joys of not eating? The light-hearted attitude and the new open doors New hobbies come to life, new romances too. Oh, the new joys we find, all we missed all along. And life opens wide up, we find our calling all day and all night. We're happier than ever. Oh, say, do we need our food at all? Or are we better off letting it go and become a free man? A brave adventurous soul. How do you guys like it? Yeah. So that's how I feel. Every time I fast, it feels like a portal has opened to all this other non-caloric food is how I like to think of it, right? The relationships, the solo sexual, both the solo sexual and heterosexual relationships, the hobbies, the uh the you name it, right? It opens things wide up, right? I could never go bowling if I had a full stomach because I'm satisfied, right? I could never I a lot of things, right? So I always go to work on at least an 8 or 9 hour fast because it opens creativity up. The problem is that it's a no-win situation, right? Because people judge you for not eating at your workplace. Fortunately, nowadays it's a little bit easier because you got to take off your mask to eat. And not wanting to take your mask off is somewhat acceptable, right? And so it gives me an excuse to shy away from food. But it really feels like a no-win situation because, like I said, fasting is the number one cure for autism I have ever found, ever. I've tried Western medicine, I've tried Eastern medicine, I've tried all sorts of other hacks, and only fasting has put my autism into remission. The problem is only while fasting, right? As soon as I break the fast, right? Um, so right now I don't really feel comfortable driving the rest of the way home because I had a little bit of a troubling situation today. Like I said, I won't talk about it until it somewhat resolves. Uh, and it doesn't seem to bother me, right? If my autism were acting up, it would be a whole different situation. Um, Anybody have another resolution they want to do this year? So we mentioned continue the last two resolutions that I made, that keeping a normal relationship with food, keeping a normal relationship with loud, noisy environments. We talked about standing up for myself. I talked about how I had a very nosy landlord, and that's why I want to make sure everybody's asleep by the time I get home today. I uh, I the ceremony, I haven't decided which way it's gonna go. It could go one of two different ways, right? Uh, do you? So Dark Queen asked, "Do you think you'll ever get married?" Of course I am. I just haven't decided with who, right? That's why I meant what I meant by which ceremony, right? Uh, and what else? Continue fasting, but at the same time, figure out a way to feel like I've fasted even when I do have to eat, right? Because unfortunately, God mandates that we eat, right? Almost like how Brandon mandates that, right? That's how I feel about my food sometimes. I really do. Uh, do you have anyone in mind to marry? Yeah, yeah, two people. One of them's a little bit more conventional, one of them a little bit unconventional, and I'm deciding between the two this year, right? Either way, I'm going to have a ceremony this year. All right. And let's see what else I can show on the camera. Maybe one of my recent games. will you invite your YouTube fans? Yes, definitely. I was planning to hold the ceremony on December 8th, but obviously, well, first I found this other alternative that I want to think about, and also Omicron and severe weather kind of got in the way too. December 8th is an important anniversary for me because back on December 8th of 2011, I started writing my first computer game. It was an Othello game. I'm hopefully going to start programming that game. TAC right there. It's become very popular here in Redmond. What other resolutions? Do you think you'll ever? Let's see. Dark Queen says he can relate to that feeling. I'm guessing about the solo sexual romance, or which one? Are you ever going to move back home? I am home, except that home is constant. It is a state of mind, right? I really love Wallace, Idaho when I was there because people accepted me for who I am. I love Phoenix because the sunlight really helped me. It enabled me to go on these longer fasts. There's no way I could do a 61-hour fast here in Seattle. I was able to do a 61-hour fast there, and also the sunlight also had it helped in its own right with my autism. Yeah, I hope to have a big wedding, but unfortunately, if I go the unconventional route, so not too many people can relate to that. I don't think I could get that many wedding guests. Dark Queen, you have any suggestions on how to find wedding guests for the unconventional wedding that I might have? I hate to mention which one it is because I want this to be all-inclusive, right? People who are LGBTQ, people who want to marry an animal or a tree, or you get the idea, right? I want this to, or group marriages, or what else could there be? Or they want to marry a close family member, right? As long as they're not reproducing, I don't have a problem with that, right? If they want to marry something imaginary, right? Oh, I had a tutoring client one time. He was 13 years old, and he claimed he had an invisible girlfriend, and I played along with it because I want people to accept me for who I am. And he says he said that I was a little bit too stupid to see her. I wasn't romantic enough to see her, and only people who understand romance could see his invisible girlfriend. And I played along with it, and then I told him about my own relationship status, and he accepted that too. So that's good, right? And until one day he broke up with his invisible girlfriend because he had a visible one now. So that was good. That was good. So I want it to be all inclusive. That's why I didn't want to mention the kind of sexual orientation that I am considering myself. Anything else? Any resolutions anybody wants to make? So that's kind of upsetting. Half an hour and I still don't have a like. Anybody want to click the like button? I hit the like button. Going once, going twice. Oh, it's almost New Year's in Central Time. Better catch that. Let's see. Where are we at now? You can go to time.gov and see. So I got 9:59 and 33 seconds. We got, okay, 25 more seconds. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we complete our 2022nd orbit around the Earth since Jesus Christ was born. All right. At least for Central Time people. All right. Any other resolutions that you guys want to make? Anything else that you guys want to make? Hit the like button, please. Anybody? Anybody? Maybe I'll sing the fasting anthem for you guys again. Let's see. I'll sing it live in front of the camera. The intermittent fasting anthem. Oh, say, can you feel the joys of not eating? The light-hearted attitude and the new open doors, new hobbies come to life, new romances too. Oh, the new joys we find, all we've missed all along. And life opens wide up. We find our calling all day and all night. We're happier than ever. Oh, say, do we need our food at all? Or are we better off letting it go and become a free man? A brave, adventurous soul. That's how I feel about fasting. Every time I go for 20 some hours like this, I feel like I've let go of food. I almost never feel like I've deprived myself of food. What was really depressing was that I tried to go on a fastcation to Wallace, Idaho a few weeks ago, where I would fast during the whole vacation to Wallace. And I ended up not making it the whole thing. I went 40 some hours. And the second half of the trip was just marked by heavy heartedness and dismay at various things in Wallace and food cravings. And I lost my nerve to talk to a girl that I liked over there. The second half of the trip was just marked by all that after I had ate. Before I ate, I didn't feel any of that. And the second half of the trip just got marked by uh, 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 heavy heartedness from wanting to eat. So, how do you guys feel about this drug that we're mandating? Anybody want to say something about it? So, oh yeah, another one of my resolutions for next year is to speak up about our free choice on whether or not we want to take this one drug. I hate to mention what it is because I don't want it to be commonplace that people accept that various substances are going to be mandated, right? And so this one drug, uh, in the second half of 2021, they started wanting to mandate this drug. Unfortunately, it's almost become mandatory to consume food at the workplace, right? I mean, nobody's going to say you're fired for not eating, but indirectly it happens, right? I think most people can relate to that. So, yeah, 2022, I'm going to speak up against mandatory, you know what, and the pseudo mandatory food at the workplaces, right? Anybody else want to chime in on a resolution? If not, I'll probably be heading out. Okay, good night. Happy New Year.